Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Matthew Greer, the CEO of Digital Marketing Services, a technology-enabled print service provider. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Matthew, you grew your company's revenue from $3.8 million in 2014 to $6.3 million in 2017, a 66% increase. And in 2018, you hit around 7.1 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Certainly. So we are a digital print service provider. So everything that we do here is done via digital print methods. And we have embraced technology inside of our company. That's really what's been the driver of our growth. Most print companies out there kind of disregard technology or have done their methods for so long. And as we all know, the printing process was developed by Gutenberg, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And that process up until about 15 years ago was very much the same. And then you saw the advent of digital printing production. And about that time is when we started our company and really embraced that paradigm shift in the industry. And it has been a massive reason to why we've grown so fast.
How would you differ from the other digital print service companies out there?
So when you look at digital printing, you lump in people like Kinko's and Alpha Graphics, which are retail establishments. And where we really differ from them is that we are a business-to-business service. And we treat our clients like they are like we are providing a service to them, not just a product. So when you walk into a retail establishment like Kinko's, you're just getting a product. Whereas if you come to digital marketing services, you're getting a service around that product. And it may not be that you're large enough to be on our tech-enabled service called DigiFLO, but you might need a direct mail project and someone to manage it effectively and efficiently. And that's really where we differ, is that we are a service, not a product.
Right. Okay. Got it. Now, can you share what were the three biggest drivers of your sales growth from 2014 to 2018, where you almost doubled your business from 3.8 million in 2014 to 7.1 million in 2018?
So the biggest driver there would be the advent of our sales force. Historically, up until that point, the selling process had really been managed by myself and my two other partners. And in 2014, we really started to build a sales force. Really, 2012, we started to build out a solid sales force where we went into a hire fast, fire fast mentality, and trying to find the right people to go and sell our products and services. So in 2014 and 15, you really saw that ball start to catch steam, and it's continuing on today.
All right. How many salespeople did you start with in 2012, and how many do you have today?
So 2012, we brought in 2 salespeople, and today we have 9.
Wow. And how do you help these salespeople win business for you?
So when you talk about DMS Color, there is, and DMS Color is a division of Digital Marketing Services. There is a lot of digital marketing that we do. It's funny that our company is called Digital Marketing and we have nothing to do with digital marketing. But we do a lot for them, from email campaigns, buying data, active presence on social media, doing things such as interviews like this so that we get our name out there. And they are constantly opening doors, qualifying prospects, getting them to a point that if they need additional assistance, then they can certainly bring in one of the partners to help close that deal.
Right. How about in terms of lead generation for them? How are they finding the people to contact?
Yeah, so that is generally done through our marketing campaigns. We will buy data. We will buy information from people like USA Data, Dun and Bradstreet, places that have that corporation data, and then we're specifically looking for targets inside those companies that meet the criteria of our preferred clients. For example, healthcare, over 50 locations, and generally at least 25 million in revenue. So for that example, we might be running a campaign that is DigiFLO centric, and we're talking specifically to the features, advantages, and benefits of the platform for others in their industry that we do business with and how they have succeeded with our platform. And we're tracking if that customer is opening those messages, what the click-throughs are, basically converting someone from a cold lead to a warm lead during that process. And when we see someone engaging with our campaigns, we'll immediately start to reach out to them and then get them into a sales process. So that is one facet of it. And then our website, dmscolor.com, has a multitude of lead generation tools on it. All the typical things that you would expect to find nowadays, with cookies and ad retargeting, and of course contact us tabs all over the website.
Right.
We don't do a lot in search engine optimization. We've kind of dabbled in it. We do a lot in search engine optimization. We don't do a lot in keyword searches, because what we have found is, like, our platform, DigiFLO, is called a marketing asset management system. It's called a print service platform. There's a lot of different names that you can put to a system like this in the industry, and there's not really any keywords that we can particularly go and buy around that. So we really rely on our marketing campaigns, what we're able to drive people to the website with, and then the experience and expertise of our salespeople.
Okay. So when you say campaigns, what sort of campaigns are you doing?
So we focus solely on email campaigns. And then when we're executing an email campaign, if we're executing it to 10,000 people, let's say, we will take that same 10,000 people and try to advertise to that person or someone like that person within a LinkedIn platform, for example.
Okay.
And so those are always running concurrent and driving people to our website to find out more about us.
Okay. And then when you say you're doing email campaigns, these are cold email campaigns?
Cold email campaigns.
Okay.
We do email campaigns to our current client database, but it's more like Happy New Year's, Happy Labor Day. Hey, did you know that we do this? When we get around conference season, we'll send out email campaigns to our current clients about promotional goods and some sales that might be going on around promotional goods at that time. But when we start doing a campaign to a specific vertical, it is 100% cold.
Okay. And you do it all in-house, or do you have a partner to help you with that?
So we do it all in-house. There is a partner that we work with to help manage our CRM platform and help drive our salespeople's activity in that CRM platform.
Okay. So they are sending reminders to your salespeople to follow up on things?
Correct. And setting goals for activity of that week, being sure that they hold them accountable for their activity, helping us get data into our CRM platform. That partner sometimes assists in creating the content for an email campaign, but that's pretty much where they stop. We'll actually execute the email campaign, do all the tabulation of results, providing that information to our salespeople, and then they pretty much pick up at that point.
Right. 10,000 people is a pretty big campaign. Is that executed very quickly, all within 1 week, one message, or is that dripped out over months?
No, we drip that out over 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually there's at least 3 messages that are going out in the campaign, and that's the bare minimum. And then we'll spread those out over a 5 to 10 day period. So email 1 goes out, you wait 5 to 7 days. Email 2 goes out, you wait to see what the reaction is. Email 3 goes out, and so forth.
Right. Okay. So are there really that many people out there that can use your services? That's a pretty big number, 10,000.
Yes, there are. We typically focus on the mid-market. So the Fortune 1000, if you look at companies like the Fortune 1000, they have multinational organizations. When you start talking multinational organizations, the way that they typically get done what we're doing is that they will either develop an in-house platform or they work with a technology provider to develop a system or buy a packaged system that they then implement. And then they bring in vendors all around the world to connect into that platform and retrieve orders and process orders. Think about Mercedes. Mercedes has plants all around the world. So they have a central platform that everybody has access to all their training materials. And then that vendor in Indonesia would be tagged into that platform to receive an order if the plant in Taiwan needed to execute an order for a certain training manual. The mid-market doesn't have that ability. Number one, they're not multinational corporations. They're usually regional or national corporations. And they don't have the expenditure needed to spend $500,000 working with a technology provider to build the solution for them. So when you look at that mid-market and you look at healthcare, retail, we do a lot of business in the craft brewery industry. There are thousands upon thousands of customers that can use our services.
Right. And when you're reaching out to 10,000 people, are these 10,000 businesses they're talking about, or multiple people within the same company?
Every time we do a campaign, we target one person inside the company. So when we're sending out 10,000 messages, it's 10,000 companies that we're working with.
All right. And what's a typical response rate from a campaign?
We typically see between 17 and 25% open rates, and then at least 3 to 5% click-throughs.
Okay, so the message is offering them to check out more information on your website. Click on this link.
Yeah. Click on this link. Set up a calendar invite inside the email to Calendly. Things like that, where they can automatically get onto someone's booking to be able to have a conversation and learn more.
Okay, and when you send out to 10,000 people, 3 to 5% click on the link. Do you recall how many of those end up speaking with your salespeople to see how you might be able to help them?
Yeah. So typically, every campaign that we're doing, if we're sending out 1,000 or 10,000 messages, we want to have at least 1% conversations over the life of that campaign. So we have that 3 to 5% click-through rate, which is 300 to 500 people, and then we'll usually have between 0.7 and 1.2% actually engage in a conversation, and then typically about 20% of those will drop into a sales process.
That's pretty good then.
Yeah, so out of a campaign of 10,000 people, we expect to get 3 to 5 deals.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Right, and how long does that take? I know your campaign takes 4 to 6 weeks to run through. How long does your sales process typically take?
Our sales process can be as short as a week, and it can be as long as 2 years.
Okay.
It just really depends on the corporation. And we're working with one right now that is actually a Fortune 500 company, and that sales process has taken 18 months.
Right.
And the implementation process has taken about 4 months.
Right. Okay.
But that's when everything in life follows a bell curve, that's the extremity of one. You also find deals that it is an absolute, they got to have it. It's time. We've hit the time button exactly on the head. And this company's about to open 20 branches or open 20 new locations in another state. And they never knew something like this existed. And they're jumping on the bandwagon quick.
Yep.
Typically speaking, our sales process runs 3 to 6 months.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm a big fan of email marketing. In fact, that's how you and I first connected when I sent you the invite for doing the interview. So email marketing is awesome, in my opinion. It works really well. Of course, you need to have the right list and the right offer for it to work. But when it does work, it's fantastic.
Yes, no, it does. And being a print company, it's interesting to say that that's our main method of marketing.
Yeah, it is kind of ironic in a way, isn't it?
It is. And when we founded this company, we called it Digital Marketing Services because we were doing digital printing. We were working with marketing people within the organization, and we were service minded.
Mm-hmm.
Digital marketing was not even around 12 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a new phrase. Yeah.
Correct.
Now, we could easily spend the entire interview talking about email marketing and getting into the nuts and bolts because I'm a big fan of it. But let's go back to your business. Number one driver was building a sales force for growing your business over the past 4 years. How about drivers number 2 and number 3?
Yeah, so driver number 2, I would say, is our continued advancement in technology. So right around so DigiFLO, our central system, our marketing asset management platform, we've been in development now for right at 10 years. And the first 6 years of that was, we learned a lot in development. I graduated with a degree in management information systems and a minor in computer science. I programmed a little bit right out of school, and then went into software sales. So I've always known enough to be extremely dangerous with architecting a system, but I've never had I'm too much of a type A person to sit down and actually write a program. So our first rendition of DigiFLO was a single user platform. We built it for one company, and we realized that it was a very successful offering for us, and that was 2008. So in 2009, we started developing a system where we could actually build out those platforms ourselves and not have to. So building out a front end module that we could actually build these systems and not have to code the web pages, and that worked, but it didn't work like we wanted it to. And we worked with a number of outside vendors to help us bring that to fruition. And we learned very quickly that trying to develop a system such as this using a third party was just a bad idea. So we went into version 2 and we brought in our own in-house developer. And of course, like any company that you're trying to grow and you're watching margins like a hawk, we tried to do that with a junior developer. Well, it worked, but it still didn't work the way we wanted it to. So we functioned off that system for about 3 or 4 years, continued to grow rapidly during the recession. And coming post-recession, we realized that we've got to put a lot of money and resources into a senior developer. So we recruited a guy away from Fox, who was actually the leader of all of the web properties outside of the United States for Fox. So he was leading the charge for websites like Disney in China, Fox Network in Britain, things of that nature. So He was very good at web development. He had a lot of experience, and we brought him on to begin developing the version that we've been functioning on now for about 6 years.
All
And
right.
that's really catalyst number 2, is that
Okay.
we brought in a system that was ours. It was functional. It was built correctly. It was built using MVC architecture. So it was very easy to make modifications, very easy to make additions of new tech. And it was definitely a big part of our continued growth.
Right. And now, just so that I can understand, and maybe other folks out there who aren't fully familiar with what DigiFLO does, what does it do in layman's terms?
So DigiFLO is a central repository for all the marketing assets and collateral for a corporation. And we build out a custom website for that corporation that they then drive all their print buyers and print needs into that platform. That is bar none what it is. You can come into that system, order a business card, a banner, and 100 pins from inventory. So basically, it is a customized Vista print. You can call it that.
Right. Okay. And who does the fulfillment once the employees come in? And
that is a lot more. So we have built in a full-fledged inventory management system. So we've got about 30,000 products on DigiFLO, and about 3,000 of those are inventoried here. We have a bevy of business rules that are built into the platform. So we can manage budgets in the system. We can route orders to multiple levels of approval. There's all sorts of flags around the approval process that we can turn on or turn off.
Okay.
So not only do we give them the ability to come and get their collateral, we give the corporation the ability to control that collateral.
Right.
And then everything in the platform we produce.
So you're almost like an in-house printing service, but you're really been outsourced.
Very much
right?
so.
Yeah.
Very much so. So if you look at like universities, a big university like MIT, they will have an implant shop, right? They have a print shop on the premises of MIT, and then the 5,000 people that work at MIT can come into a platform and order up a business card or a brochure or a specific slick that they need, and it's produced and fulfilled by the implant shop. So we've taken that model and brought it to the corporations, the mid-sized corporations that don't have the means, the know-how, or the ability to put a system like that in place.
Right. And the benefits to them is, 1, they don't need to get the assets. 2, they don't need to get the people. And I guess the third one is, it simplifies things for them, right? They have one vendor who can take care of all their printed collateral, printed needs.
Correct. Yes, that's the main fab. I mean, that's you having one vendor and no longer having to deal with 10 different people to get the collateral out to the field is the biggest advantage. Second biggest advantage is that now it's all controlled. One of the biggest problems that you have with a company that's very spread out is that, and you've seen it, you've seen somebody take the logo out of the email thread, throw that onto a flyer, run down to Kinko's and get it printed. Well, as we all know, that logo on the email thread is very low resolution. So when you print it, it looks extremely fuzzy and pixelated. And then that person trying to design that flyer or whatever that they're doing offhanded, they wind up skewing the logo either to a height or width dimension that's incorrect. So you wind up with a fuzzy logo that is not the right size.
Yep. Looks amateur-ish.
Looks amateur. It looks amateur. So and not to mention that they're going down to Kinko's and they're paying 75 cents per color copy, and then the guy over in Minneapolis has got a relationship with someone and he's paying 35 cents a copy. They're both on different types of paper. They're both on different machines. The colors are going to be different. They have this ability to create something on their own, because that's the only way that the corporation knows how to deal with it.
Yep.
Is just to let them do it.
Right.
So we eliminate all of that.
Yeah, I can see how people would appreciate that, right? And it's, if your printing services can handle what they're looking for, it's a perfect fit.
Correct.
Are there ever situations where the company's looking for stuff and you just can't do it?
It's rare. It's very rare.
Typically something that's really big, I imagine, or something that requires a lot of custom work, manual
like
custom
the
work.
most recent one that I can think of is we were working with a sweet tea company, and they were wanting to do 5 million of, they were wanting us to produce and warehouse and fulfill 5 million of their labels that go on their tea containers. That's just really not us. It's not. There's companies in America that can deal with large label runs like that.
Right. Yeah, I can see how that wouldn't be a good fit right there. Okay.
Yeah, it's that type of, and then someone that's wanting to do, we would never do the Bed Bath & Beyond 20% off coupon direct mail piece.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because they're sending those out to 100 million people throughout the year, and that's really not what our forte is.
Yeah, that's
now you're wanting to send a direct marketing campaign to an identified customer list inside this geographical area. Absolutely.
Right.
And then we do a lot of, we have direct connections into credit card processing companies. Don't think American Express, Visa, or MasterCard. Think about when you go into Home Depot and you apply for a credit card and you get declined, there's all these B lenders sitting there ready to offer you that same credit card at 29.9% interest.
Right.
We have connections into those data centers so that if you get declined or anything along your account, it's past due, here's your statement, here's a notice of privacy. All of those communications are coming from us as well.
Right. Good. More of the one-stop service there.
Yeah, and that's really, it kind of embodies this whole thought process that we have as a company, is that we lead with technology. We're looking for deals that technology can help improve the company's or clients' processes in life.
Right. So what would you say would be your third driver? First driver was your sales force. The second driver was advancing your technology. What's driver number 3?
Driver number 3 would just be horsepower. We continue to see advancements in digital print technology, and we continue to be the first to adapt those.
Okay.
One of the most recent, been about 2 years ago now. So we were the first to install what's called an iFoil station from a company out of France called MGI. So this is a digital process foil finishing equipment. Traditionally, if you want foil on your piece, you have to make a die.
Okay.
You have to make the opposite of that image in a die, a metal cast die. We're able to do foil embellishments without dies, and we're able to do it variably. So when you do a direct mail piece, and I send a piece out that says Malcolm right across the front of it, I can put Malcolm in foil.
Very nice. So you're willing to make an early investment, be an early adopter of new technologies, so you can provide that to your clients. But I imagine in some cases that technology kind of fizzles, and you're willing to move on from there, absorb the costs, and move on to the next advancement. Okay. Yeah, I could see, again, you're providing more services that other companies aren't able to provide. Fantastic.
Yes.
Looking ahead a little bit, for 2019, what's your revenue target?
8.5 million.
Okay, so you're at 7.1. You're looking to go to 8.5, so that's a nice bump. What's the plan to get there?
So we continue to see a lot of activity on DigiFLO. We are having organic growth with our current customers there, and we're doing several large implementations that are set to launch May and June. So that's going to continue to add a pretty nice bump to our top line.
When you say large implementation, you mean deals that have been signed and you're about to go live with them.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
The other piece of our puzzle that's driving growth a lot is our advent and our tooling into small packaging. So not only do we have the ability to do floral embellishments, and we see a lot of that in the high-end small packaging world, but we have everything here to finish that package. All the die cutting, all the machines to fold and glue, all the machines to lay a soft touch coating on that piece so it feels like it's a velvet in your hand.
Oh, nice.
And so we have we've made the investment and bought all the dies that we need to make a multitude of different size boxes, and we're seeing a lot of interest around that for a multitude of reasons. Number one is that a lot of people have had to go to China to get this type of work done, because the American stateside companies that do this work will typically turn down anything less than 100,000 packages. So think of all these CBD companies that have been sprouting up. They're everywhere.
Yep.
And they all need packaging. So they're all getting told your runs are too small from your American stateside corporations. And then they go to China and it takes 8 to 10 weeks to get it here. Mm-hmm. There's a massive language barrier.
Yep.
And now they're dealing with a 25% tariff.
Right.
Enter digital marketing services and gold leaf packaging.
Yeah, I can see all the advantages there.
Yeah, we literally started gold leaf packaging last July.
Was that at a request of a client?
No, it was just out of identifying this need in the industry.
Right. How did you identify it? How did you see it?
Well, just by getting out there and talking and getting in front of people, going to conferences. We did our first conference in June of last year in New Orleans, and that's really kind of what opened our eyes to what was going on in this industry.
Right.
And the fact that nobody was getting service. And remember, we're founded on service. We want to be a service provider. So that really made us think and really made us start to put together the pieces for gold leaf packaging.
Right. Yeah, I could see the value there. And packaging is everything.
Packaging.
It's the first thing that people see when they get a product, right? You want that to be give the right impression right off the get-go. So what obstacles do you see that you need to overcome, that your team needs to overcome to get you from 7.1 million in 2018 to 8.5 million in 2019?
Just refining our processes is the biggest thing. The old adage, jumping from 5 to 10 million. The jump from $1 to $1 million is hard. The jump from $1 million to $3 million is hard. The jump from 3 to 5 is hard. And the jump from 5 to 10 is the hardest. And we're really learning that. And that's really around our processes and making sure we have the right people in the right place.
Yeah, which particular processes
to do the right job
are you referring to functionally?
To explain it in a nutshell, it is identifying. It's something as simple as this, right? So we on an average given week, we process 600 job tickets. A job ticket might be one line item, it might be 30 line items. So on a typical week, we're processing on average about 6,000 pieces of collateral.
Okay.
Right now, and again, these are the refinement of processes that we have to figure out, and it's literally as simple as this sometimes. Right now, if you think about it, the jobs that come in Monday, they're getting produced and they're getting put on a table, awaiting to be finished, because they get printed and they have to make their way to a cutter. There might be some additional finishing like scoring or folding, or die cutting or gluing. So if at the end of the day, Monday, all those jobs that got printed Monday didn't make it all the way through finishing. When Tuesday comes in, Tuesday's jobs are now getting put on top of Monday's jobs, sitting on that table. And that continues to happen throughout the week until we actually have somebody that can say, hey, these Monday jobs on the bottom still have to get out, right? It's just finding those people and putting them in the right places to make sure those processes are running as smooth as we want them to.
Right. Got it. How about on the marketing and sales side?
That's literally, that's literally finding that person that has not only the cerebral horsepower, but also has the time to take and scour the tables to make sure that we are executing everything for that day. Right. Even though we've had a jobs due today list being produced out of DigiFLO automatically at 7 a.m. for the last 3 years, it still requires someone to sit there and manage that process.
Right.
So really kind of getting our workforce enabled from a time standpoint, which means more people usually. Yep. And really identifying how those people are supposed to fit in the process.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, printing is a manual process, right? Given what you do beyond just simply printing out a sheet of paper. Now, how about on the marketing and sales side? What obstacles does their team need to overcome to hit your targets?
Activity. When you talk about your average salesperson that is comfortable making 70 to 100 grand a year, they typically stop doing activity. And our salespeople, we have to figure out compensation plans that really drive them, because our salespeople, they are also the account manager. And that's because our customers want that one-to-one relationship. They don't want to be sold and then handed off to some other account manager. They want to work with Hant McWhorter the entire life of the account.
Okay.
So getting them uncomfortable and getting them into really understanding their activity model and how that activity results in the growth of their personal book of business.
Any thoughts on?
That's why we are doing what we're doing now with that third party that I was telling you about earlier. Right.
Sounds like he's a bit of he or she, or the entity is a bit of a coaching service as well.
Almost. You know, we didn't go out and hire life coaches, but he's definitely one that is there to constantly drive home the message of what activity yields the results they're looking for.
Right. Now, this doesn't sound like leads are a problem for you. It sounds like you're getting enough deal flow and enough interested people coming through.
We are. I mean, typically on a given week, we have between 6 and 10 leads that come in from our site.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, that's a good number to have for us.
Is that sufficient to hit your target?
It is. And that's talking DigiFLO leads only, you know, leads associated with digital marketing services. Associated with DMS Color.
Right.
There's a whole nother lead engine that's running for Gold Leaf Packaging.
Right.
And we're seeing 20 to 30 leads a week there.
Also driven by cold email marketing.
Yes, email marketing. You know, that industry, we can't completely advertise on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram yet. There's still some pretty strict ad rules around that advertising, even though we're not doing anything illegal. But we're seeing we get a lot of our leads and a lot of our follow-ups off the conferences that we're attending in that industry.
Right. Very cool.
Because everybody that's in that industry, to find what they're trying to find, they're coming to those conferences.
Right. Exactly. Three last questions for you. If you were to have a billboard for your company's services, and the billboard's along a freeway, people only have 6 seconds to read your billboard before they drive by. What's your billboard message?
That would be hard for me to come off the cusp, Malcolm, because I don't want to be cheesy. I don't like to be cheesy, but you could say something like your one-stop shop for all your printing needs, right? But that's cheesy and corny. Really, I think it would be changing the way print is done.
And yeah, definitely you're doing that.
When you look at what we do, Vistaprint has done what we've done for the millions of small businesses out there. That's their target. If you have 5 or less employees, we're marketing heavily towards you.
Right.
And they change the way print is done for those small corporations.
And for individuals as well.
And for individuals, absolutely. And we're changing the way print is done for those mid-sized corporations.
Right. And 2 last questions. I know you have several different business units, so feel free to elaborate on each one. Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to reach your team?
Yeah, so Digital Marketing Services has 3 divisions. We have DMS Color. That website's dmscolor.com. Our ideal client there is someone that's spread out. They have at least 25, 30 locations, at least 25 or 30 sales reps that are spread out throughout a geographical area. And that is an ideal client for us, no matter what industry they're in. If they have that type of footprint, they're experiencing the pains that we solve. When it comes to gold leaf packaging, we're looking for anything that's a small package. So your custom soaps, your custom chocolate bars, your boutique CBD shops, the small packaging that is found in cosmetics is the type of stuff that we're doing there. So anyone that needs a small package to hold, a piece of chocolate, a vape pen, a small jar, anything along those lines is the type of packaging that we're doing. So the ideal customer there is someone that is already ramped up in their processes and are experiencing those pains with trying to find a place to produce the packaging that they need. And then our third division is one that we did a soft launch in Birmingham Q4 of this year, and that's our B2C product called Look-See Prints. And I'm sorry, let's go back to the packaging. You can find us there at goldleafpackaging.com, goldleafpackaging.com. And then our third division is our B2C division. So I told you a little bit about this ability to do digital foil and small run foil jobs. So we have developed a site called lookseeprints.com. It's not active right now. We'll be launching it with a pretty heavy marketing campaign in the Southeast the middle of June. We did a soft launch in Q4 just in Birmingham and learned a lot and got a lot of great response. And that is a site that is going to compete with the likes of Shutterfly, the high-end products on Shutterfly. So you want to come and get a New Year's Bash invitation that's completely made of foil, and every piece of data that you're producing on that, the time, the location, the names, all of it can be produced in foil. Or you're wanting to do a Christmas card and you have the Greers across it embellished in foil. Every product on Look-See is going to be of that high-end caliber and all customizable, and every customizable aspect would be produced in foil.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah, so that's launching June, the middle of June. And again, that's lookseeprints.com.
All right.
And that's straight B2C website property.
How do you spell lookseeprints.com?
Yeah, LOOKSYPRINTS.com.
All right. Is there anything there now if I were to pull that up?
There would just be the splash page of coming soon.
Okay, cool. I'm going to check it out come June. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, I mean, when we launched Q4 of the soft launch Q4, we had about 60 products on the site. And we did about $100,000 in revenue in Q4 just in Birmingham with our launch parties and just getting the word out that it was there. Learned a lot about cross-browser functionality because we're doing some pretty neat things with 3D rendering of your previews. So when you come in, you set up you select your template, you set up your picture, you set up all the variable spots, and you click preview. We're kicking that back in a 3D render, so you can actually see. If you're using holographic foil across your piece, you can actually see how that's going to shimmer when it turns, and you can turn the piece completely by hand.
Nice, very cool.
So getting all that kind of stuff worked out with your cross-browser functionalities is what we've been doing here the last few months, and looking good to launch in the middle of June.
Matthew, it's been awesome having you on my show today. I really enjoyed hearing how you grew your company so fast.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time with me. It's good to tell the story every now and then.
We've been speaking with Matthew Greer, the CEO at Digital Marketing Services, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.